Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life where we must stand before the mirror, not just to see ourselves, but to meet ourselves. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build with your own trembling hands. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about standing tall despite the cracks in your soul. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't scream for attention. It whispers, "I am enough," even on the days you don't believe it. I wasn't always confident. In fact, I once mistook silence for weakness and doubt for truth. But life, in its unique way, teaches us through pain, failure, and broken dreams. The world will try to tell you who you are, but your confidence blooms the moment you dare to say, "I will decide that for myself." You don't need perfect circumstances to be confident. You need courage in the face of imperfection. Real confidence begins when you stop waiting to be accepted and start embracing yourself, scars, flaws, and all. Because it is in your authenticity, not your perfection, where your power lies. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wear a mask to please the world. Wear your truth like a crown. Speak even if your voice shakes. Walk even if your legs tremble, because every step you take in your truth is a step toward unshakable confidence. We often look at confident people and assume they were born that way, bold, fearless, self-assured. But what we don't see is the journey that shaped them. Behind every calm voice, behind every strong presence, is a story of silent battles, of self-doubt slowly being replaced by self-trust. Confidence doesn't arrive at your doorstep fully formed. It is not a gift wrapped in genetics. It is something you create, mold, and nurture through the fires of your experience. As children, we aren't taught how to be confident. We are taught how to be quiet, how to be agreeable, how to please. And in that quietness, many of us forget how to hear our own voice. That's where the journey begins, not with a roar, but with a whisper. The first step toward confidence is simply allowing yourself to exist loudly, even if the world expects your silence. You don't need to be extraordinary to be confident. You just need to be brave enough to begin. Confidence grows in the small moments. When you speak up despite the fear of judgment, when you raise your hand with trembling fingers, when you say no because your peace matters more than pleasing others. Mazari. These are not glamorous moments, they are quiet revolutions. And they are the foundation of real lasting confidence. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you are laying a brick in the house of self-belief. There is no fast lane to confidence. You stumble into it slowly, often after falling. You build it when you fail publicly and survive. You build it when you walk into rooms where no one knows your story, but you hold your head high anyway. Confidence is not about walking into the world thinking you are better than everyone. It's walking into the world not needing to compare yourself to anyone at all. Let us not confuse arrogance with confidence. Arrogance is loud because it is afraid. Confidence is quiet because it's secure. And that security comes from knowing what you've been through. The nights you thought you wouldn't make it, the mornings you rose anyway. Your confidence becomes unshakable when it is built not on how others see you, but on how you have learned to see yourself. You won't always feel confident, and that's okay. The goal isn't to always feel strong. The goal is to keep choosing yourself even when you feel small. There will be days when self-doubt creeps in like a shadow. On those days, remember, confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep going. Even with fear walking beside you, people may not always understand your journey, and they don't need to. What matters is that you keep building, brick by brick, moment by moment. Confidence does not arrive in a single shining moment. It is earned through thousands of quiet choices that no one applauds. It is in those private victories, the ones only you know about, where confidence begins to bloom. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this. Confidence can be rebuilt. Even if life tears it down, even if you feel like you've lost it completely, Because confidence is not a one-time achievement. It is a lifelong relationship with yourself. And like any relationship, it takes patience, love, and time. Perfection is a myth we are taught to chase, but never taught to question. From an early age, we're told to color inside the lines, to get it right the first time, to polish ourselves until we shine. And in doing so, we start hiding the parts of us that are raw, messy, and real. But true confidence doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from finally wholeheartedly accepting that we are not. We spend so much time editing ourselves for the world. We crop out the messy emotions, blur the scars, filter the fears. We present a version of ourselves that feels safe, not because it's true, but because it's easy to accept. But let me ask you something. How can you ever feel constantly pretending to be someone else? Confidence cannot grow in the soil of self-rejection. It needs honesty. It needs the truth, no matter how imperfect that truth is. Our imperfections are not our shame, they are our story. The cracks in our character, the missteps in our journey, the things we wish we could change, these are not failures. They are evidence that we've lived, that we've tried, that we've felt. When we embrace these parts of ourselves, we stop living under the pressure of performance and start living with the power of presence. You are not broken, you are becoming. Think of the people you admire. Not the ones who seem perfect, but the ones who are real. The ones who talk about their struggles with open hearts, who laugh at their own mistakes, who show up with authenticity instead of armor. We love them because we see ourselves in them. That's what makes them magnetic. Confidence doesn't come from hiding what's wrong with you. It comes from knowing that even with all of it, you still belong. Imperfection is not weakness. It is humanity. And when you stop fighting it, you begin to find peace. You stop apologizing for your past. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's definition of success. You stop waiting to be fixed before you feel worthy. Embracing imperfection is not a resignation. It is a rebellion. It is saying, I may not be perfect, but I am enough. We often think we need to improve ourselves before we can accept ourselves, but it works the other way around. Acceptance is the soil where growth begins. When you look at your reflection and say, I see you and I accept you just as you are, something shifts inside you. The inner critic begins to quiet. The heart begins to heal. And in that stillness, confidence begins to rise. Your imperfections do not make you less deserving of love, success, or happiness. If anything, they make you more real, more grounded, more relatable. They are the fingerprints of your humanity. You do not have to erase them to be enough. You simply need to stop letting them convince you that you are not. So wear your imperfections like a badge, not a burden. Let the world see your rough edges, your uncertain steps, your messy truth. Because in a world obsessed with perfection, the most confident thing you can do is show up as you are, unedited, unfiltered, and utterly real. There is a silent danger in letting the world tell you who you are. From the moment we open our eyes, society begins to draw borders around our identity. It says who you should be. This is how you should look. This is what success means. And this is where you belong. But somewhere along the way, if we are lucky, or if we are brave, we realize that no one else has the right to write our story. The most powerful act of confidence is to take the pen back, to stop living a life that fits someone else's script, to stop chasing titles, labels, or approval that doesn't align with your truth. You do not have to be who they told you to be. You do not have to shrink to fit the frame someone else built for you. You were not born to live a second-hand identity. The world is loud, and its expectations are heavier than we realize. People will tell you that you are too much or not enough, too soft, too bold, too quiet, too loud. But here's the truth. They do not know your story. They have not walked in your shoes. They have not heard the battles you fought in silence. And yet we let their voices shape our worth. But confidence grows the moment you stop asking the world, "Who am I?" and start asking yourself. Defining yourself doesn't mean you'll always feel certain. It means you're willing to listen to your own voice even when it's shaky. It means trusting that your experiences, no matter how messy, painful, or unconventional, have value. You are not just a summary of what you've done. You are also who you're becoming. Confidence is knowing that your becoming doesn't need permission. And yes, people may misunderstand you. They might resist your growth, especially when it challenges their idea of you. But their discomfort is not your burden. You are not put here to make everyone comfortable. You are put here to live fully, fiercely, and freely. You don't need a crowd to approve who you are. You only need one voice that believes, your own. There will be days when you forget who you are. Days when the old definitions feel safer. That's normal. But every time you return to yourself, every time you choose to stay loyal to your truth rather than fit into someone else's mold, your confidence deepens. Not because you've reached some final destination, but because you've chosen to walk your own path on your own terms. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow the names others gave you. The quiet one, the weak one, the difficult one, the failure. None of these define you. You are more than a label, more than a mistake, more than a single moment. You are a living, breathing story, and no one else gets to write your ending, so take back your power. Tear off the labels, speak your truth, walk in your own light. And remember, the most confident people are not those who have figured it all out. They are the ones who are no longer afraid to be who they really are. There is something incredibly powerful about a person who walks into a room without needing to be perfect, just real. We've been conditioned to believe that perfection is the goal. Perfect image, perfect voice, perfect timing. But perfection is a performance, and confidence doesn't grow on a stage. It grows behind the curtain, where the raw, unedited truth of who we are finally has room to breathe. Perfection asks you to hide. Authenticity invites you to be seen. And the more you try to chase perfection, the more distant confidence becomes. Because every time you pretend to be something you're not, a part of your spirit quietly shrinks. True confidence is not about always getting it right. It's about being at peace even when things go wrong. It's about standing tall in your truth, not in your illusion. The world is hungry for authenticity. In a time when everyone seems polished and curated, what touches hearts is honesty. When you speak your truth with your flaws, your fears, and your fire, people feel it. They don't connect with your perfection. They connect with your courage to be human. The cracks in your voice, the pauses between your words, the stories that make your voice tremble, those are the things that make you unforgettable. Authenticity is an act of self-respect. It says, I value who I am even if the world doesn't. It means you no longer dress your soul in costumes. You don't apologize for your emotions. You don't hide your past like it's a shameful secret. You begin to understand that your journey, with all its twists, its stumbles, its scars, is not something to be edited, but something to be embraced. We often try to perfect ourselves in order to feel worthy. But confidence blooms when we believe we are worthy before we're perfect. That shift is everything. It takes you out of survival mode and into self-trust. You stop needing to impress and start choosing to express. You stop trying to be better than others and start becoming better for yourself. Letting go of perfection is not easy. What you need, you always needed, is already within you. The courage to be seen, the strength to stand tall, and the grace to keep going. The world may try to dim you. It may try to convince you that you're not enough, not worthy, not ready. But let them talk. You are not here to be quiet. You are not here to be invisible. You are here to live boldly, beautifully, fully. So walk in your truth. Stand in your story. Speak with your whole heart. Be loud when you need to be. Be soft when you choose to be. But above all, be you. Because in a world that constantly asks you to be less, the most powerful thing you can ever be is yourself.